By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to play Warden. I'm going to show you everything that I learned over the years. This is the main hero that I've played over time, so I'm going to show you everything that I know. Now, when it comes to Warden, Warden has really simple light attacks. So I'm going to throw two light attacks, and you could throw two different versions of this light attack. So I could throw one light attack to the side, one up top. As you can see, it does 10, then 13 damage. But let's say I throw two light attacks to the side. So I'm going to throw two light attacks. As you can see, one did 10 and another did 5, but the second one is guaranteed doing it this way. So 1, 2, doing it this way leaves the opportunity for your opponent to parry you. Warden's light attacks are already pretty slow and they're pretty easy to parry, so you don't want to just simply open up with a light attack because your opponent most likely will parry it if they're good enough. When it comes to heavy attacks, Warden's heavy attacks are pretty basic. You got one simple attack, then if you throw a second one after that first one, it will then be unblockable, no matter what position you're in. Along with the unblockable heavy chain, you also have a bash. Just dodge to the side and press the guard break button. You can follow up with two light attacks that are guaranteed, and you can also do another version of this bash. You can hold the guard break button. This will allow you to get a heavy in. Now, in my opinion, I think you should always go for the overhead because you'll get a lot more damage that way. So I'm going to dodge to the side, hold guard break, hit him, get the overhead in. This will give me 27 damage. If I go from the side, this will only do 24 damage. So you want to make sure you maximize that damage. Warden also has a pretty basic zone. And when it comes to Warden's moveset, long as you end your attack with a heavy attack, it'll be unblockable. So I can throw a light attack, then throw a heavy. That heavy will then be unblockable, but I have to throw an attack first. This also counts for the zone as well. So I could throw a zone and then follow up with a heavy attack. Warden also has a move that really isn't as useful as the other ones. This is the Valiant breakthrough. You can use this to cover ground, but I will warn you, this attack is really easy to parry, especially if your opponent is expecting it. So you can just dodge forward, heavy attack, cover ground, and get that 16 damage in. I like to use this attack mainly when my opponents are trying to run away or something. And once you get that attack in, you can actually follow up with the overhead unblockable. The overhead unblockable does a total of 32 damage, which is a ton of damage. So your opponents are going to be afraid of that. And this leads me into the next section. I've already showed you Warden's complete moveset. Very basic hero, but you have to work with what you have. So now we're going to get into the more advanced moves of Warden. So one of the first things I like to do with Warden to throw people off is hold my shoulder bash as long as possible, then cancel it and get the guard break in so I can get the heavy in. So I'm going to dodge with this hero, hold the guard break button until my Warden almost looks like she's about to go forward. Then I'm going to cancel at the last second. This will bait your opponent into dodging. Now, advanced players sometimes won't fall for this, but this move can still catch even the best players off guard because the punishment for this bash is overhead heavy, which is 27 damage. That's a lot of damage. They're not going to want to get hit with that. Also, if you want to just chip away at your opponent's health, they're not going to like this, but you can go into the shoulder bash, follow up with light attacks, and just keep it running. I like to do this about 3 times, then hold it, and then cancel. And that may bait them into dodging because if you've been beating them with the shoulder bash, they're going to get real tired of taking that damage. So at the last part, you just then want to cancel it, just like I did there. It's all about priming your opponent to do what you want them to do. When you believe they're primed to start dodging, that's when you want to swap it up. So maybe hit them with a simple one, and then at that last part, cancel it and hit them with the guard break. You just want to throw them off their game and kind of play mind games with them. So the second advanced thing I like to do with Warden, it's a bit weird, but I like to bait out the shoulder bash before I even get to my opponent. So doing this before you get to them may get them to start dodging. And if they do start to dodge, you don't want to finish the shoulder bash. You want to go into that Valiant breakthrough because if they're in the middle of a dodge, they can't block. So let's talk about Warden's max punish. So if your opponent's out of stamina and you throw them to the ground, most people will throw a light attack, then a heavy attack. This will only give you 12, then 32 damage. What you really want to do is throw them to the ground, do a zone, then go into the heavy. You'll start off with 13 and then end with 32 damage. And one of the last things I want to mention with Warden, I don't really use it too often, but you can use it to cover some ground, especially if you're like in a 4v4 or just simply want to catch your opponent off guard. You can run while you're unlocked and then throw a heavy attack and it'll lunge pretty quick to your opponent and get a quick 12 damage in. Now this can get parried just like any other attack, so you just don't want to throw it willy-nilly. It just may get countered, so you just want to be real careful while using this move. But that's going to be it for this video. If you learned something new, if you learned how to play Warden, let me know down below in the comments. If you want to see more tutorials like this, or you just want to watch other tutorials, check out the channel. I make content like this all the time. With all that being said, I'll see you in the next video.